Are you looking for grouped, summarized, and filtered data? Then check out how you can use the ultra cool power of Excel's pivot tables with the FairEntry Results for Media Excel file. We start in FairEntry, click on Reports, and then Standard Reports. Under the Results group, click on Entry Results for Media. There are no configuration or other options. You just click it and download the file. Now, the unique thing about this file, at least at this time in the life of FairEntry, is that it is the only way to get all of the ribbons, points, and awards data. For example, if you use the premiums report for this data, you'll get ribbons, points, and awards data, but only for those results that include a dollar amount more than 0. Anyway, once you've downloaded the file, open it up with Excel. After it opens up, click Insert on the ribbon and choose the pivot table icon. Note that you could also use the icon for recommended pivot tables, which will allow you to preview a few pivot table options and choose one as a starting point if you want. However, not all versions of Excel have the recommended pivot tables option, and once you know what you're doing, you'll be able to set up any pivot table you want in just a few minutes without the recommended pivot tables option. Clicking on Insert Pivot Table will bring up the Create Pivot Table dialog box. Accept the default suggestion of Table 1 by clicking OK. Clicking on Create Pivot Table will create a new tab or a new worksheet, and the Pivot Table panel will be opened and docked on the right side of the worksheet. Also, now visible is a Pivot Table context menu up in the ribbon. The first step is to define what you want for rows. In this case, we'll have clubs be the rows. To do this, you can either just check the checkbox next to the club field, or you can drag the club field down to the rows quadrant of the pivot table panel. Then we'll define our columns as the ribbons. In this case, the data that we want to count is in the class ribbon field, so we'll click and drag the class ribbon field down to the columns quadrant. Now that we have our rows and columns, we need to define what we want to count. Now, anytime we want to count every entry in FairEntry, we need to use the entry number field, because that is the only guaranteed unique value of the entry data. So then, we'll drag the entry number field down to the values quadrant. Excel suggests that we want to count the entries, which is correct. So now we have our data. One way to make this slightly easier to read is to change the layout so that the grid lines show up. This can be done by clicking on the Pivot Table context menu for Design, and then under Report Layout, choose Show in Tabular Form. For printing, you'll likely want to click on Page Layout and change the page orientation to Landscape. Specify the printout to be 1 page wide and to have Excel print the guidelines. So then, when we press Ctrl P for printing, this is what you'll get. Alright then, if you want to look at the data differently, you can easily change the rows and/or the columns. In this example, we'll remove clubs from the rows quadrant by clicking and dragging it back up to the list. And then we'll click and drag departments down to the rows quadrant. You can also nest the rows. For example, clicking and dragging division to be down under department. Note that you can use illogical approaches. For example, nesting departments under divisions. You'll get a pivot table, but it won't make sense, or at least it won't have any value. But the beauty of pivot tables is that you can move these things around as much as you want, and it's not going to hurt or change the data in any way. Now, if you want to drill deeper into the data, there are a couple ways to do this. Let's get the divisions out of there and bring our club field back into the picture as a filter by clicking and dragging the clubs field to the filter quadrant. This then gives us a new row at the top of the pivot table where you can choose one or more clubs to view just that data for. For example, here is choosing just the Chandler Hilltoppers, and seeing their ribbon data. Another way to filter that's more fun is to slice the data. We'll first remove the club filter, which we wouldn't technically have to do, but the next step will be a bit more clear that way. Click on the Analyze tab under the Pivot Table context menu in the ribbon. On the pop-up menu, click on Club, the checkbox, and then OK. This will give you a cool little control which you can place wherever you want, drag and drop, and will allow you to click and choose from the available clubs. Note that when the slicer panel is present, the quadrant disappears. And when you delete the slicer panel, the quadrant reappears. So there you go, a cool way to interact with your data and generate helpful reports that are not otherwise available.